I'm often asked by people one or two key things. Like, oh, if you were to point at one thing that people don't pay attention to, or if there's one thing that people overlook, or, if there's something that you could recommend to focus on or do that gives you an edge, right? They're looking for like that secret sauce. And there really isn't, right? I always tell people it's the basic stuff that we always talk about. Looking back, though, there are a few things that I can note that maybe aren't cheat codes, but it's something to keep in mind and focus on that if you understand this and you do this, it will give you an advantage in the long term. And one of the things that I was thinking about today was, man, when I look back over the last 12 years that I've been sharing everything online, there's been many times where I've done an event, I've showed up to speak somewhere, I've had to work just a regular day, make content, be a guest speaker somewhere, right? I can think of a million things that were events, things that I had to do that day where I didn't feel like it, right? Meaning, didn't want to do it, right? I woke up that day like, man, like right now, one of my wisdom teeth is coming in, believe it or not, at 40 plus, and it is killing me, man. This thing rears its ugly head like every couple months, and it just throbs and it hurts for like a couple days, and it just drives me nuts. So right now, I don't feel like doing anything. I don't feel like talking. I have a lecture here for my coaching program in like an hour and 45 minutes. I don't feel like doing that either, but I'm going to do it and I'm going to perform. Same thing with this video, right? I just shot a video. I'm shooting this. I'm doing a guest call for somebody in about 30 minutes. There was a lot that I had to do today that I didn't feel like doing, but I still did it anyway. And one thing that I noticed is a lot of times it's those things that I did in those moments that had huge payoffs, or I finally got a break, or I had a surge, or maybe a video that I shot when I didn't want to do it was one of many videos that took off and then gave me new subscribers or got me something, right? It got pushed into the algorithm and it led to another opportunity. Or maybe an event where I didn't really feel like going, but I went anyway. And then I met the owner and he was really cool and he connected me with somebody else, and then that turned into an opportunity. Or, I was out going door to door and I was 50 doors into my 100 door session and I was like, man, I'm not feeling it, man. I want to leave, but I stick it out. And then door number 90, boom, I get an amazing opportunity. Now I can think of so many times where that was the case, where I didn't feel like doing something, whether it was minute, waking up on time, making my bed, whatever it was, right? Or something major. And because I did it and I performed and I showed up 100%, that happened to be the day, the moment, the thing, the task, whatever it was that led to that next bump or my break. And I know many people watching right now, because of the state of the world, they're looking for that break. Like if you're in sales or real estate right now, you're looking for that one listing or that one deal that turns into like a 10 or 20 or $30,000 paycheck, and that will change everything for you. Cool. But think about how many times you didn't feel like it and you didn't do it. I've lost count of how many people have been telling me, I've been following you for a year, 2 years, 5 years, whatever, but they've never done anything that I've told them. Or very little they've done, very little. When I've given everything basically for free. Sure, I offer coaching and all that, but people can't come here and say that I definitely don't give enough or I don't go in depth through my podcast and my channels and all that over the years. There's more than enough for people to apply without giving me a penny. And I've always been open about that, whether it's events, YouTube, whatever. But I really have to look. This isn't necessarily probably for a rookie, because a rookie won't even get off their ass a lot of times. And it blows my mind that people still are in a state where they're not doing good financially, you're not happy with their circumstances, but you're not taking massive action. What the hell are you doing? Seriously. Like, what else is there to do? Sitting there apathetic, lazily, doing nothing, complaining. How is that making your situation better? Even if you want to say life is unfair or this happened, okay, I'll give you that. But you sitting around doing nothing, how does that help? How does it help? Today, me not performing, doing this, my lecture and all that, because my wisdom tooth hurts. How would that make me better? It wouldn't. Doing this, pushing through, doing the workout that I did earlier, helping my team, and all the stuff that I'm doing made me better. So I'm glad that I did it, regardless if my wisdom tooth hurts or not. And a lot of times that also boosts your psyche. And this is what people miss. Most people today are not lacking action or getting stuff done or being successful because they don't know what to do. If people say that, that's a symptom of the real problem, because the real problem is something else. And we know for most people it's health, not really health, but for some people it's health, like they're just in shambles, right? Like they're physically unable to do stuff. That's a small percentage. But an overwhelming percentage is something mental or emotional. Improper mindset, right? Emotionally, they're just erratic. They're unable to control their mind, right? Like it's mental / emotional for most people most of the time. So it's not mechanistic. It's not, I don't know what to do. Because now you can even come on YouTube. Hey, how do I become a real estate agent? How do I get my, like, all that stuff is there for me and probably millions of other people at this point. So we know what to do. We're just not doing it because we have some mental and or emotional issue. Now, what if I told you that what I described in this video, which by the way applies to everything, helps you with that? Because if I'm not feeling it or feeling like it, meaning, and I'll extrapolate on this a little bit more so you can really understand how deep rooted this is. But if I'm not feeling it and I still do it, I'm demonstrating that I can conquer my temporary emotional state for my goals and what I want. Hey. Sorry, cats. I can conquer my temporary emotional state, which isn't favorable to action, and take action in spite of that. Now, as simple as that sounds, that's the bane of most people's existence right there, what I just described. Because something that's tied to that people miss, and I hate hearing this from people because it breaks my heart. But they're waiting for the perfect moment or time to do something. When XYZ happens and ABC, then I'll do this or that. And it's like, dude, the stars are never going to align. The moment's never going to be perfect. You want Mercury to be in retrograde and the moon to be, a full moon, and then it has to be a clear skies with no clouds. You got to be kidding me. Then you have to be in a great emotional state that day. Your mom has to call you in the morning. It has to be sunny. You had to wake up in a good mood, right? We put all these asterisks on everything. And all that really is, again, that's a symptom of the real problem, which is our inability to have a strong mental state, just a resting mental state as a human being, but also an understanding and navigating of our emotions. You don't get rid of emotions. You don't suppress emotions. You learn how to work with the spectrum of emotions that human beings deal with. And that is missing today. That's why I love talking about it and teaching it to people. You teach people that, especially children, their lives will be completely different. And it's sad how swept under the rug a lot of this stuff is. Same thing with the mind. The mind, conscious and subconscious mind, and communication, right, work together. This is why I'm such an advocate for improving your communication. You improve your communication, which includes self-talk, conscious, subconscious, all that, and external, right, with people. Your mindset will shift. Your ability to get what you want out of life will improve. You'll be able to get your message across. You'll relate better to other human beings. And then if you have an understanding and how to navigate the spectrum of emotions that human beings are going to feel, you're already very well equipped as a human being, regardless of any technical skill that you have. Because there's other parts of this blueprint that I would prescribe to people, right? Like physical prowess and all that. But those two have to be a focus for people. And everything you learn in school, high school, college, has nothing to do with any of that. And unfortunately, when people enter the real world, like sales or any kind of career that's competitive at all, this smacks them in the face because they've had no training, practice, or reason to improve their mental state and communication, their mindset and communication, and their ability to navigate emotions as a human being. Maybe if you played sports or something like that, or you had some sort of competition or something that you worked towards growing up, you had at least a taste of it. You maybe never had formal training, but at least you subjected yourself to trials and tribulations and facing hardships and pushing and competing, which forges the human being. And this is why I always recommend kids be in something competitive to some extent. It doesn't have to be like basketball or football, but maybe martial arts, Maybe they get into something physical, right? Or even something that teaches them the spirit of competition, like, hey, my son's going to become a piano player and I want him to be number one, right? But have that kid have that desire to be good at something and push himself or herself. That helps a lot. Now, with that said, going back to the original statement here, imagine all the times that you give that to people as an excuse. It's normal to say that. I don't feel like doing anything today. I don't feel like fill in the blank. Now, that's dangerous because then that becomes your whole life. You just don't feel like doing anything. Then you end up patterning and habitually getting used to sitting around and doing nothing all day. Dude, I can't even sit still and I'm fucking 40 years old. Sure, I can meditate and focus when I need to. But if I have a window of free time for an hour or two, right, and I'm home, I'll walk on the pad right here. I'll read for 20 or 30 minutes. Like, I'm doing something. I'm not just sitting around vegetating or doing nothing. Sure, maybe an hour before I go to sleep, I'll shut down. Maybe I'll fire up a video game for a little bit, read a book, right? And I'll kind of chill, per se, and sit still. But I've patterned myself for movement. Now I can meditate and sit in silence magically. I can do that and shut the world off in a minute if I want to. But that's a practice. There's a purpose behind that. I'm not just sitting around doing nothing, like from the perspective of I don't want to do anything, which is like laziness and apathy, which is one of the worst states to be in as a human being, where you're apathetic. You just don't care about anything. That's different. Yeah, I know people 20, 25, 30, oh, I have no energy. Oh, I can't sleep. And I'm just like, how are you having all these issues? Hey! So understand that this is a much deep-rooted issue than people think. And if you're not actively working on it, studying it, doing something about it every day, you're digging yourself a deeper hole without even realizing it. Most people are. And this type of stuff, by the way, is never going to be mainstream. Even if this video only gets a couple hundred views, this stuff will never be mainstream. But this is why I know for a fact that people who are around me, on my team and in my communities, get way ahead of everybody else because of stuff like this. And it's not that complicated or, oh man, this and that. No, but they've come into my ecosystem. They've listened to me talk about it. They understand how important it is, and suddenly it becomes a priority in their life. And that's the difference right there. It's maybe no different than maybe some of you who followed me, who maybe you got into real estate because of me. I get those messages all the time, and that changed your life. Good. Then I became a vehicle for a positive change in your life. Good. And I will continue to do that. And I want to do my best to represent that. There's going to be a lot about me that people don't agree with. That's fine. I don't care. Like, if you don't like tattoos or this and that, or that I cuss, I don't care. But overall, the whole point of this platform, besides real estate, sales, communication, and all that, is the creation of my podcast, The Supreme Being, B-E-I-N-G, Supreme Being. It's a being, Supreme Being. You become the best version of you, the most developed, evolved version of you. That's what it's about. You do that, and then it doesn't matter what you do. You're going to excel and do better than everybody else, just by the virtue of the fact that the vessel, you, presenting itself in that activity or thing or whatever it is more evolved and better. You move better, you speak better, you think better, you're more intelligent. That's what it's all about. That gives you a competitive advantage. You're better socially, right? People like you more. You're more charming, right? You're witty. All the stuff that people really want. You're more motivated, you have more energy, you're in a better mood. You have a better, demeanor around people. You're a great storyteller. All these things that people want and desire as skills. Now, maybe if you don't, well, you need to realize the importance of these things that I'm listing off, because as time is going on and we're becoming more biased towards technology, a lot of the things that I just described are going out the window. Like, if you put an AI prompt on and it can tell a story better than you got some problems. Then you're going to be replaced by AI. I would love to see ChatGPT try to outsell me. Good luck. I'd love to see ChatGPT tell a better story that's more impactful than me. Give it the voice and everything. But I believe in my skills and I put in my time. Now, if you haven't, or you're afraid that ChatGPT is better than you at X, Y, Z, A, B, C, then it's not a surprise why people are so afraid of AI and all this technology replacing them. Well, if you brought no skills and you weren't taking it serious before, I think you better start taking it serious now. All right? So even if you don't feel like doing something, do it. A lot of the stuff that we discussed today in this video builds upon that first point, but you have to understand how important it is, because if you focus on this stuff, I'm telling you, life changes in a very, very impactful way. All right, guys, leave a comment for the algorithm. Subscribe if you haven't already. Check out some of the free resources I have in the description. We'll see you on the next video. All right, peace.